we're going to get going. Hey, welcome to FailCraft Casts. I'm Hammy. Hope you're well and good. We are going to be opening a whole bunch of packs. It's Goblins versus Gnomes time. Hearthstone's first ever expansion. Really looking forward to jumping in and seeing what we get. So we're going to be analysing cards as we go while we open packs. Just a little bit of a top-line analysis, new player friendly, just to get people into it. And then, of course, if we've seen a card and it gets picked in another pack, we're not going to do that one again. After this, if you're live on stream, this is live on twitch.tv/FailCraft Cast. Do come join us there. You can see us Monday through Friday. Do stay with us if you're live, because we're going to be doing more. If you're watching on YouTube, then please jump in elsewhere. You can see a whole bunch of other videos. We've got another 70 pack opening video, and then we're going to be doing loads of Goblins versus Gnomes, deck guides, introductions and similar. So it is time for packs. There's our first pack. Okay, we've got Pandaria backs, nothing too shiny. Puddle Stomper, just your basic solid 2/3/2 new Murloc. I love the anodized Robo for Druids. We've seen that turning up quite a bit. Gives you a very nice early game way of resisting some pressure. Or you can turn it into a 2/3/2 for some attacking. Tinker Sharpsword Oil for the Rogue. It's really just a question of whether you're going to be a weapons road in the early game, and this is going to give you early mid game that kind of value, or late game value. I mean, potentially if you dropped it on top of an Assassin's Blade, something that's a big powerful rogue weapon with big durability. I mean, if you drop a Deadly Poison for 3 attack on top of an Assassin's Blade, it's ace. This is like that, but also giving the 3 attack as well. So would I prefer to throw a Deadly Poison? It's kind of situational. Velen's Chosen, very strong for priests. Seen this being played a bunch already. Do not forget that 2 attack and 4 health and spell damage for 3 mana. It's an insane amount of stats for not a huge amount of mana. And given that priests already have loads of ways of buffing up cards with health, that has made several cards for me in the few decks I played against really nasty to try and beat. Vitality Totem, nice little totem there, but it's going to be like a Flame Tongue and a Mana Tide, in that if Shamans do try and put that behind tanks or taunting cards to keep it alive to heal, opponents are going to target it pretty quick. Lovely little whirring animation there on top of the packs. Power Mace for the Shaman. Good early game clearance. You can just be using this if you need to beat through some early game minions. Random mech 2/2. If you're going to be trying to mech rush with Shamans, then the Power Mace gives you that additional little benefit. So a nice card all in all. And Blizzard with this expansion really trying to encourage every class by giving every different hero class their own sort of unique little take on mech, and that's one of the Shaman ones. Love an anti-Keelbot, been using that in Paladin deck already today, restoring 8 to your health for 5 mana. The 3/3 is just, take it or leave it for trading stuff off the table. Could perhaps turn it into a tank, but really people will play that for 5 to get the 8 health. Nice card. Goblin Stalker, a really solid 2-drop. And then anodized Robocub again. And then the Ship's Cannon. Again, Blizzard's wanting to make pirates a bit of a thing. We've already seen people playing pirate decks on various streams. Whenever you summon a pirate, deal 2. It's okay. It's a bit more than a Knife Juggler. It will probably get bursted off the table quite quickly if you did try and play a pirate deck, I would say. Power Mace apparently has the best flavour text. I've not actually seen that, so we're going to have to check that out at some point or another. Or let me know what it says. And welcome to Cocoa Latte 7. Good to have you with us. And join us in the midst of some pack openage. Bit of rare Cobalt Guardian. This is the first one of those I've got. Whenever you summon a mech, gain Divine Shield. That's the Paladin's little take on mech. I do quite like that, so the Cobalt Guardian will keep that shield as long as mechs are summoned, so I would throw that down. I would then play cheap mechs after it, but considering it's mid-game, you need to be throwing down a bunch of mechs mid-game as Paladin, unless you could get that out a bit earlier, perhaps with a coin if you're getting second. So, could have some use. Nice to get the shields again, and then there's a rogue card as well that gets stealth, the pirate. So Blizzard trying to play with these sort of trigger effects a bit more, but repetitive trigger effects. So I can gain a Divine Shield, trade, play another mech, gain a Divine Shield in theory, but I just don't know whether at 5 mana and with these stats whether this will stay live long enough. Of course, if you can then buff this health, it'll be potentially quite nice. So feels as though there might be some uses. Auto Barber, nice early game helping rogues with their weapon, summoning the weapon with the hero power if needs be. Do some nice little trades, potentially helping rogue out a bit in the early game against a lot of rush. There's going to be a lot of mech style, there's a lot of aggression with the mechs that we're seeing already. Goblin Stalker again, a Cogmaster, nice. 2 attack while you have a mech, becomes a 1/1/2 to a 1/3/2. And in Mech Rush you're going to see Cogmasters. I've already seen them in the Mech Mage deck that's been doing the rounds already. Pardon me. Flame Cannon, 2 mana for 4 damage, brilliant efficiency. It's just, can you set up the situation where you do that random 4 damage to the minion that is ideally not so random. It's the one that you want to do damage to. Alrighty then. Let's keep it coming. Goblin Blast Mage, was interested in the second one of those. Going to go straight into the Mech Mage deck that we're putting together because we want to try it and work it out with you folks. If you've got a mech, deal 4 damage randomly split among all enemies. Hey, if you can get that out turn 3 with a coin, or even turn 4 after a bunch of mechs, that is wrecking your opponent's side of the table, seizing control, and hopefully makes it a bit harder for your opponent to zap away that 4 health. Villain's Chosen, we've covered. A lovely little buff. Soot Spewer. Spell damage of 3, it's a solid 3/3/3 otherwise. It's an okay magey mech, but there are better, I think, neutral mechs if you're playing Mech Mage. You're not so concerned about the spell damage, you're more concerned about getting lots of mechs out early and the big toughens, so probably will suffer a little bit. Salty Dog, standard pirate. Good attack, but will die probably with that 4 health, unless you can find some way of keeping it alive. And the Shrinkmeister, already been played, drops straight into priest decks so nicely. And with the giving a minion -2 attack this turn, it helps you set minions up for Cabal Shadow Priests, it helps you set minions up for Shadow Word Pain. That removing 2 attack off a minion sets up a whole bunch of nice priest plays, be it Mind Control or Solid Control, with the priest sort of control cards like Shadow Word Pain. So you're going to see some Shrinkmeisters around. Shadow Boxer, this has been played against me already. Whenever a character is healed, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. Chippy. Will probably be focused. It's not quite a knife juggler because it requires the heal, and if you throw a circle of pain, circle of healing, you're healing everything and then doing sort of chip, so it doesn't quite perhaps trigger as much as you'd like, but there's a lot of powerful healing in this expansion, so it'll be interesting to see how people try and make or break that in some kind of priest early game rush style. Druid of the Fang, remember that of course Druid of the Claw is now a beast type when it's on the table. If you're playing earlier game beasts in your Druid deck, then this will trigger off those. So if I could ramp into one of those turn 2 or turn 3 for a 7/7 after playing a very cheap beast, the beast cards, the Druid cards, are trying to encourage Druids to play beast a little bit more, and Hunters also, they want to see a lot more beast type in play. We've got a Salty Dog, we've got an Ogre Brute, the Ogre mechanic, of course, 50% chance to attack the wrong enemy. Don't underestimate this card, it's getting some play. 3 mana for the 4 and 4 mean that it will certainly take out a couple of things before it dies, and remember that because it ignores 50% chance to attack the wrong enemy can be a stealth enemy or a taunt enemy as well, or it can go past a taunted enemy to a different enemy. So this actually bypasses stealth and taunt. Kind of quite powerful. Worst, you could even silence it for a 3-turn 4/4. Flying Machine looks bad with a Wind Fury until you remember Hobgoblin, which I still haven't picked one of yet, so hopefully in these packs we'll get one. The Wind Fury is striking twice. The Hobgoblin, if we play this after a Hobgoblin, it will be 3 attack, 6 health, because of course Hobgoblin does allow buffing of 2+, +2 attack, +2 health, for any 1 attack only minion. Very nice indeed. Villain's Chosen, Stone Splinter Trog, worth a quick discussion. There's also a Burly Rockjaw Trog. These cards benefit whenever your opponent casts spells. So the Burly version gains 2 attack, this gains 1. Immediately forces your opponent to deal with it if they're throwing spells around, because otherwise these could become very big very quick. Crackle, lovely damage. People are going to play that with Malagos and try and break it. It is of course random. Vitality Totem we've covered. We've also covered our friend Puddle Stomper. Boom. More cards. Floating Watcher, that's another one. Now I want to put together a Demon Lock, and this chap is certainly going to be involved if indeed he is a he. Remember that you're doing damage to yourself as a Warlock, probably with your sort of a hero ability in terms of drawing cards. So whenever you take damage on your turn, you gain 2/2. Unless you've got a Mal'Ganis down, another new legendary, you're going to take that damage. Providing you've got ways of healing it back up, you don't get yourself into lethal. All of the standard Warlock quandaries. This could become powerful and be a nice little mid-game card. Love the Explosive Sheep, brilliant control, helps against all kinds of aggro. You're going to find this being dropped as 1 into a bunch of decks. Really nice little tech card. The Ogre Warmaw, 50% chance to attack the wrong enemy, but this has swung against someone for the win before. So I've seen that, I think, in a Trolldon or something video. So 4 attack, 2 durability, not awful, but will again help you clear the table. As a warrior, you don't mind that too much if you've got a bunch of armour. Cogmaster's Rinse for the Rogue. 2 attack when you have a mech, encouraging rogues to play mech rush, and a nice little epic weapon there. 1 attack, 3 health. Remember, of course, with all of the rogues' poisons and things, you can buff that up nicely. With a mech warper, an essential card for rushing in mechs in a hurry. 2 of those in most mech decks. Shielded mini-bot for the Paladin, very nice early game trade, and helps Paladins deal a bit more with rush. It's not direct control. Paladins have always had to sort of wait a couple of turns to try and deal with rush or trade minions. They haven't had things like Wrath with a Druid, or similar early game control in terms of spells. But the mini-bot will certainly trade something away or force your opponent. It may take 2 minions at best, so a nice little early game drop for the Pally. Another Ship's Cannon, another Cobalt Guardian, a Whirling Zap-O-Matic. Ooh, and a Piloted Sky Golem to finish things off there. So I like the Zap-O-Matic. It kind of makes Dust Devil a little bit redundant, but it's turn 2 rather than 1. Because of the Wind Fury, 6 damage on turn 3. Turn 2, if you have a coin and you're getting second, people will probably target that and get rid of it as soon as possible. I love this Piloted Sky Golem, the Golem card, and then the Shredders as well. Summoning the random 4 cost, this can really give you a nice... If you're going for a mid-game type deck, the Sky Golems are going to see a lot of play, and are already. Because 6 attack and 4 health, that you trade something down, and then you can pretty much immediately get involved with whatever the 4-drop is. Ogre Brute. Okay, we've also got a Velen's Chosen. We've got those covered again. Stone Splinter Trog, an anti-killbot again, and then a rare in the Bomb Knobber. 4 damage to a random minion. Divided people on this. Some people think this is awesome mana efficiency, given that you can throw it down and just do that random 4 if you can set up the situation. That's good. Hey, Baroque Sampson, great to have you with us. Good to see you. So 4 damage to a random minion, alright. The 3/3, okay. Can you, kind of like that flame cannon, can you engineer a situation where you're doing that 4 to the minion that you want to do 4 to? Explosive Sheep, a Lost Horse Strider, a beast. That's the best thing to say about that. It's not an awful beast for the 4 mana cost, but I generally tend to favour the health beasts, or the health above attack. Like, think of this is like a reverse Yeti, really. Cogmaster again. His Spider Tank does whatever a Spider Tank does. I want to see the flavour text for that. But a nice little drop into mech decks as a bridge. And Light of the Naru, this kind of has made Light Warden, playing normal Light Warden's a bit redundant, and Priests already dropping this into their decks. Restoring 3 health. I've seen this exact combo. People throw this down on top of a Injured Blade Master. Reduced, pop up to sort of 6 health. That's not his full health, so he is still damaged, and then you get the free Light Warden as well. Nicely comboed. What are we going to go for? Ogre Brute again. Burning Rock Trog, the big brother of the other Trog we were looking at. 2 attack, 5 health, 4 mana. This is what I like about this card. It's kind of very tanky. That will stay on the table. Metal Tooth Leaper for the Hunters. Give your other mechs 2 attack, so the Hunter mech rush is real, and the Metal Tooth Leaper helps lead the charge. If you throw that down, it's a solid 3/3/3 and will help you start charging in. Another Shrinkmeister. That's good. Good for my priesty goodness. Okay, seeing all of those. Grove Tender, we're going to have a discuss over. So the Grove Tender, each player a mana crystal, each player draws a card. It is more ramping for a druid, but you're also ramping your opponent, or you're letting them draw a card as well. So not quite as strong as some of the other ramping options. You can just play it. Druid benefits with a big ramp, but it's kind of, do you want your opponent to benefit as well? A lot of the other Druid cards don't let your opponent benefit at all, but perhaps a bit slower than that one. That's quite quick, and that you can throw it down turn 3. Fell Cannon, 2 damage to a non-mech minion. Perhaps could see this being dropped in against sort of a lot of people rushing or trying to do early game decks now for, well, these first few days of Goblins and Gnomes are trying to use mechs. So non-mech, how much use is that going to be? Welcome, O'Brien, great to see ya. So how much use is that going to be? Well, there are enough decks that could cause that bit of trouble. Don't forget, it can also attack. 3 attack and 5 health mean that you can do some trades. It could be useful in getting some kind of rush down, but if people are rushing with mechs, that sort of chip damage is kind of handy. I think that's a deck that's going to be built quite situationally into a particular kind of theme deck. I don't think it's certainly not an auto drop in 20 decks. Worth having a look at that Scarlet Purifier as well. There are some nice tools. The Scarlet Purifier, 2 damage to all minions with Death Rattle. This is literally just a hello Undertaker, hello all of your Death Rattling charging minions, how's it going? I can very much see that being dropped in as tech by Paladin. There is also the Little Exorcist as well, which becomes a big tank that does direct damage to everything with Death Rattle. I really like the Scarlet Purifier. I can see myself playing a few of those if I'm playing Pally. Another Fell Cannon, Tinkertown Technician, worth a little chat over because you will see 2 of these in pretty much a lot of mech rushes already popping up into a lot of decks. You get a mech, you gain 1/1, you get a spare part to your hand, turn 3 you've got a 4/4 out, and with that spare part who knows what you could achieve. So pretty much a turn 3 drop in most mech rushes. There's another card, the Clockwork Gnome, throw it down turn 1, if it dies you get a spare part, if it doesn't die you're going to be doing 2 damage to something. The start of the mech rush in the Clockwork Gnome, the reinforcement of the mech rush in the Tinkertown. Oh, there we go, Tinkertown Technician. Puddle Stomper, Whirling Zap-O-Matic, an Iron Sensei. Worth a quick chat, we've done this in the other vid. For rogues, end of turn giving another friendly mech 2/2, can you drop a Conceal on top of this Iron Sensei? If you can just sit him there and he sits there like a young priestess or any of those other cards, well, think of the Stealth Dimp, for example. If you can get him sitting there and just buffing your mechs, then a rogue mech rush gets really oh so nasty if he doesn't die. Then the Warbot for the warrior, enrage in 1 attack. Only becomes a 2/3, well, a 2/2 if you take some damage, but for a turn 1 drop, not bad whatsoever. And you can throw that down and certainly get some good early game pressure, I think. So that will help warriors trade a little bit in the early game as well without resorting to all of their control cards and spells. Lots of useful anti-rush cards popping up. Another Iron Sensei. Oh, golden rare. The one-eyed cheat. This was the pirate I was talking about earlier. Gaining stealth whenever you summon a pirate, but he's only got the 1 health. Now if he had 2, maybe 3 health, maybe he'd stick to the table a bit more, but then he'd be very too strong for a 2-drop. So I just think that 1 health is so vulnerable to whirlwinds, to novas, to you name it. Anything that does area of effect damage to your opponent is just oh so vulnerable. And a welcome Sparta as well, good to see. I think Twitch is unfollowing people for me. Oh, that's weird. If I've not followed you before, I do apologise. I sort of find myself refollowing people. Okie dokie. So, Iron Sensei, we've got the one-eyed cheat. Pirate decks will try play him. He may have some effectiveness. Flame Cannon, Whirling Zap-O-Matic, and Velen's chosen. Velen is choosing a whole bunch of people today. Boom. Swordy Dog. He's played. He'll probably die. If he doesn't die, he may do something. Oh, and another Coghammer. Oh, sorry. Yeah, we got a Coghammer before. So, Spider Tank, we've covered. Coghammer, a random friendly minion, Divine Shield and Taunt. I like the look of Coghammer, actually. I'd like to find a way of sort of fitting this in, particularly with... It feels like it could be a 1 tech deck in some of the sort of various Paladin decks that people are trying to put together. Obviously, you know, Trump's jumped straight in with his sort of Quartermaster style Pally. I think there's some other Pallies that could work pretty well as well. But a random friendly minion, Divine Shield and Taunt, if you've only got a Yeti on the table, or if you've only got something else on the table, you're immediately making a really horrible tank. So if you've only got big minions on the table, then Coghammer is just so awesome. Vitality and Crackle. The Craggle. President Business's Craggle. Implosion. 2/4 damage to a minion. 7/1/1 imp for each damage stat. Oh, the RNG-ness of it all. Yeah, there's ways of rushing in. A few people are trying to use that in demon-style decks because, remember, it's a summon, it's not a played card from hand, so it's not going to trigger Hobgoblin or things like that. Micro Machine. Start of each turn getting 1/1 attack. A little budget shade of an X-Ramus there for you. And again, with all of the other mech cards, don't forget, you see one of these being dropped in mech rushes because if you can buff its health up a bit, it gets real big, real nasty, real fast, and forces your opponent probably to deal with it. Oh, what we got? What we got? Oh, okay, so nice to get a legendary. It's Helmet Nestling Ray. Battlecraft Destroying a Beast. Ugh, I don't know exactly. I may shard this guy. So destroying a beast is good. If I'm destroying something like a Gazira, or a real big nasty beast, maybe a King Crush, perhaps, for example, maybe a Savannah Savannah Prowler, or whatever it's called, the big hunter hyena. Can't remember off the top of my head. But 6 attack, 3 health. He's pretty much going to die pretty soon after that. He's kind of like a beast version of a big game hunter. Yeah, he's okay. I wouldn't probably say that he's an auto-include. He might be a tech if there's a beast heavy metagame. But nice to have legendaries. He's some dust if nothing else. Tinker's Sharp Sword, a Flame Cannon. We've got a little rare Shield Maiden, very nice. So for warriors, you're certainly going to be wanting to be grabbing a couple of these, having a nice little experiment. 5 armor, of course, real nice. Loving that. And then also just a general 5/5, pretty solid. You're probably going to be able to trade people off the table with that too. Burly Rockjaw again. And don't forget, of course, there's another warrior card that every armor you gain, that card gains attack. So pretty cool as well. Auto Barbara. Gnome Regan Infantry. And with these 1-drops, by the way, guys, just remember the Hobgoblin. The opening animation is great. Yeah, sure is, O'Brien. Totally agree with that. So with all of these 1-drops, just think about what they do after a Hobgoblin. Any 1-drop in the game, you should now think, well, if I have a Hobgoblin in play, what's this going to do? And the Gnome Regan Infantry suddenly becomes a 3 attack, 6 health charging taunting minion. The Flying Machine becomes a 3 attack, 6 health Wind Furying minion. So these are not so bad as they may appear. They're trying to encourage you to combo with Hobgoblin for sure. Muster for Battle. This is a core of a new Paladin deck type that we're going to have a look at after we finished opening these packs. So if you're on YouTube, pop across and have a look at our little deck intro. Muster for Battle. Trump's been playing this already. How do you use this card? Well, a couple of ways. I mean, the primary combo is you're going to want to be throwing it down and then perhaps playing at the Quartermaster. So if for 8 mana, if you can play both of those in one go, you can summon the 3 Silver Hand Recruits. You can then buff them up by 2 with the Quartermaster. And then any other Silver Hand Recruits you have on the table also get buffed by the Quartermaster. So that gives you a mini Savage Roar effect as a Paladin. The 1/4 weapon, well, you use that to chip away at stuff. The other way I've used this big part is to chip away at various things in the early game. Use that 1/4 weapon sometimes as a form of control. A big welcome to those of you folks joining us. We're doing a bit of a Goblins vs Gnomes pack opening. We're going to be doing some deck building and then laddering to see the new expansion after. So all of those of you not logged into Twitch, welcome. So Muster for Battle, you can throw it down in the early game, you can throw it down in the mid game, you can still use those Silver Hand Recruits for buffing. Remember, as a Paladin you've got Equality and similar, you've got other cards that can help you benefit from just more minions on the table. If you really need to Equality to reduce all of your opponent's minions' health to 1, then trade away big minions. Sometimes it's worth mustering even if you don't have the Quartermaster backup, so don't necessarily hang on to Muster for Battle until you can Quartermaster on the same turn or the turn after. Of course, that combo makes a whole lot of sense and is a very powerful one. Sometimes dropping one of those in the early game against a rush deck will save your bacon. 50 packs to go. And with an Antique Healbot, restore 8 health to your hero. I'm just going to be back in 2 seconds. Apologies for that, just had to grab the door. So the Antique Healbot we've covered. You can throw that down in a weapons deck. It's going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff for you in terms of the heal. Another Antique Healbot, 2 of those. Oh, Golden Puddle Stomper, we always wanted. And then an Ogre Ninja. 50% chance to attack the wrong enemy as Rogue. And then, of course, a Stealth 2. So for 5 mana, not the most awful drop, but if you're throwing that down, you're pretty much going to be attacking with it and trying to clear tables and things with it. Ooh, and a Metal Tooth Leaper as well, giving our other mechs to attack. Okie dokie, another pack. Giblin Stalker, solid 2 trading drop. A Flame Cannon, 4 damage to our random enemy minion. Rolling Zapomatic again, a Shielded Minibot, and then we jump into a Jeeves of all things, our little mech butler. At the end of each player's turn, that player draws until they have 3 cards. Well, if you're playing against a handlock or something and we can protect Jeeves, I think Jeeves is kind of got a few uses. Don't forget he's a 1 attack mech as well. If you drop him after a Hobgoblin, he suddenly becomes a 3/6 as well. Hobgoblin is real nuts. You should all grab Hobgoblins and have a bunch of fun experimenting with them. I'm really looking forward to seeing exactly how people use and abuse that card. But yeah, drawing until you have 3 cards. If you're rushing or similar and you've emptied your hand and you get a Jeeves down, then you just get cards and cards and cards and cards. There are plenty of card games that sort of replicate that mechanic in a various bunch of ways. I'm just going to let the dog out. I'll be 2 seconds. Let's give you this pack in one go. Righty then. Okay, so we've got our Rockjaw Trog. Nice actually drop, and I've had those getting sort of created from the sort of Goblin mech cards, the Sky Jobbies that summon on Death Rattle, a 4-drop. So if you get one of those as a 4-drop from one of your Shredder cards, you're absolutely laughing. Hey Globbit, good to see you. Giblin Stalker, 2-drop Explosive Sheep, just general throwing in one of those for clearance against various things. Golden Micro Machine, very nice indeed. And then a Muster for Battle for more Paladin goodness. So let us have a look. We have Mech Warper for our Mech Rushing, and Iron Sensei again. Another little double Iron Sensei. Clockwork name, just in case we don't want to rush anymore. I've not seen a single Hobgoblin in all of these packs. We need our Hobgoblin. What do we have now? We have a Robocub for you Druid fans for the early game. Another Grove Tender. I'm in mixed minds about this card. Not entirely sure. Shield Minibot for our early game Paladin shielding. Do love the pack animation, looking so cool. Another one I'd cheat. Maybe we need to make a fun pirate deck. Epic? Excellent. This is one that I really wanted to chat over. Echo of Medivh. This has already been played against me this morning and hit me in the face really painfully. So we're going to have a look at Mech Mage at some point today. We'll build a deck, we'll play it a couple of times in ladder, we'll do our usual New Player Monday intro to a deck for new player friendly type of thing. And this is a variation of this Mech Mage. So Echo of Medivh is just such a strong card. The mage has already got duplicate, so if someone kills one of your minions as a mage when you've got duplicate down as a secret, you return 2 copies of that minion to your hand. Echo of Medivh just instantly puts a copy of each friendly minion in your hand. So if I've thrown a bunch of low cost mechs on the table as a mage and they survive, I get to turn 4, I throw down Echo of Medivh and I get all of those mechs into my hand again. I throw all of those mechs down again next turn if they're 1 and 2 drops. I think you can see how this benefits mechs and mage rushing. Mech Mage I think is surely a thing. But yeah, we're definitely going to have some fun with the Echo of Medivh. Very strong card. Can be used in a whole bunch of situations. Nice little whirring cog there. We've got a Raw King of Beasts. So this, we grabbed one the other night. This is used, imagine if you've got, say if I've unleashed the hands for 3 mana and then throw this down for 5. Depending on my opponent's state, I might get quite a big beast. It's a taunt, it's a tank as well, let's not forget, which isn't awful. It's a beast, which of course helps with a lot of the other hunter synergy. Almost encourages you to play. You can throw this down as a big late game tank if you've got beasts on the table already. Or if you're playing a few more early game beasts as a hunter, then this could be a nice mid game drop for you. So I think there's going to be ways that people will try to use it. Not awful. Numregan Infantry, a Giblin Stalker, another anodized Robocub. Worth hollowing out for the Mech Yeti. He is just beastly. Giving each player a spare part, of course, that's a little bit of a downside, but if you're getting him out turn 4, you could get him out turn 3 if you've played your Mech Warper as well, of course, reducing the cost of your mech cards. So very, very nice indeed. And 4 attack, 5 health. Make him into tanks, do all of the things you'd normally do with a Chillwind Yeti. To that mechanical Yeti, he will love it and he won't talk back because he's a mech. Glaivezuka for the hunter, random minion, 1 attack. That smacks to me of, because of the 2 attack and 2 durability, it's an early game weapon designed to be thrown down to try and help you deal with rushes. The 1 attack on a minion will also help that too. Uga Ninja, Cobra Shots, pretty. I think I'd always rather have a card for 5 mana or less that would do damage to an enemy hero, or do damage or do something to a minion. So I get Cobra Shot in the game does a bit of both. Not entirely sure that that's mana efficient enough to be worthwhile. Anti-Killbot, another sheep. Kezan Mystic, nice card this for grabbing enemy secrets. Loads of people playing loads of secrets nowadays. Being able to do stuff against those secrets is awesome. And welcome to Wrong Wish, really good to have you with us. We're just opening some packs and then we're going to be doing some Goblin vs Gnomes deck building and ladder. So, being able to grab secrets is awesome. And of course, as an all classes card, if you're in a really secret heavy metagame, for attack 3 health, it's probably going to die afterwards. Taking control of a secret, that could certainly give you a hand. People are going to drop that in his tech in various decks. It's real nice that it's all classes. In terms of an offensive threat beyond that, you'd really need to drop it if you're really facing secret heavy things, but I just like the ability. It's something a bit different and filling a need. Micro Machine for our mech rushing desires. Oh, double Jeeves. I think there's going to be some kind of Jeeves, Hobgoblin, Joy. A little rare there, Shield Evasion. So, it's solid, it's solding. I don't know what solding is. Birdie Rockjaw, Villain's Chosen, Ogre Brute, and a Shrunk Meister. Boom. Ship's Cannon, we've got him for a Light of the Narrow as well. Shielded Minibot, a Warbot. Oh, and an Epic in the Recombobulator. Transforming a friendly minion into a random minion with the same cost. Well, you can. This looks awful to start with, and I've been harsh on this when we've seen it before. But then when you think about it, and when we've seen some of the ways that people have been playing it, there's quite a few people who have been testing this card out. And like, if you're playing a handlock and you've got an 8 damage, an 8 mana cost, a giant on the table, for example, you can even just throw this down. If it transforms it into the same giant, which happened to me in one game I played, you've effectively just healed that giant for nothing, for 2 mana. So it has uses. The random element is of course a little dangerous. Hey, if you've got a 12 cost giant, maybe you get a Deathwing or something on the table instead. But yeah, some interesting uses for that Recombobulator. You'll see it teched in a bunch. Spider Tank does whatever a Spider Tank does. Mech Yeti. Siege Engine, that was the warrior card I was talking about. Whenever you game armor, get that minion 1 attack. If I throw down, let's say a 10-10 and I throw down 1 Siege Engine and 1 Shield Maiden, I have a 10-5 and a 5-5. That's a real piece of table acquisition. Loving the Shrink Meister. Priest, Priest was rolling along quite nice. It's now got some really tasty cards. Seal of Light we've not seen today, so we may as well chat over that. Good to help paladins against early game aggression. Admittedly, there might be other options or better options you can use. Restore 4 health to your hero, gain 2 attack this turn. That is going to be buffing you up in the early game, letting you use 2 attack to perhaps pop off an enemy minion or 2. All nice and good. Righty then, Warbots for warriors. I was waiting for this card. This is the first one I've got, I think. Arcane Nullifier, guys. So, you have, of course, your Sludge Belcher from Nexramus, which is 5 mana, 3 and 5, and summons the second tank, which is a great little war. This, I think, is also going to see some good play, just because it's kind of a fairy dragon, can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. It is a mech, it's got a nice solid body of health, the same as a Sludge Belcher for 4 mana less, and just 1 less attack. So, the Sludge Belcher is still ridiculously strong, but mech-wise, I can see this as sort of a mech wall. If you're dropping this into mech decks, it's going to give you a solid spine, or it could see use in just some other decks. For solidifying sort of the early to early mid game. Sometimes you just can't quite get that Belcher out in time, the Nullifier might be your answer. Oh, a Scrooge and Clunker. Give a friendly mech 2/2. That is the warrior mech rush card. Really useful against mages and such, says Thresh. Yeah, absolutely. Anything that's throwing around spells, people are going to have to hit that to the face to get rid of it. And at 4 mana stage in the game, if you're being rushed or similar, that will really slow people down. As for the Clunker, it's got enough health to stick around. 1 friendly mech 2/2. Blizzard trying to get each class to play around with mechs. It's okay. Shadow Bomb. 3 damage to each hero, for the lols, pretty much. A way to start off, I think Blizz, along with the Shadow Boxer, you've got the Shadow Bomber as well. They're trying to sort of encourage people to Shadow Priest a bit with this kind of stuff. Do you like a bit of Shadow Priest? I was a Molten Core Shadow Priest, so I always enjoy a bit of that. Mech Warper, of course, a few mech rushers out there. Explosive Sheep for the control, another Cogmaster. I think we're going to have to be going and taking a look at some kind of mech mage. And then also the sort of tri-zoo that people have been going for as well. Okie dokie. Ship's Cannon for all of the pirates out there. Piloted Shredder, that was their card that I'm absolutely loving. So it's absolutely awesome. Really, really loving it. Reason for that, 4 mana on the table, and you get a really, really tasty little 2-cost minion afterwards. 4 attack and 3 health will help you trash something out of the way. Imagine if you're then throwing down a Sunfree Protector, Defender of Argus. I want to make a Druid mid-range deck, and these guys are going to be stars. They're going to be really awesome. So much cool mid-rangeness we can drop in. Cobalt Guardian, we've already covered. Interesting to see if Palladies get mechs working. Whoops. We see a Warbot, we see a rare Gnomish Experimenter. Draw a card. If it's a minion, transform it into a chicken. That chicken card. If that chicken was like a 10/10 or something, I'd be a... So, really, I'm probably going to dust it. Not going to lie. Love this spinning little cog on top of that. Cogmaster, Metal Tooth Leaper again, Puddle Stomper, Cogmaster, and then the Force Tank Max. I've already seen people trying to play this, lobbing it down in the mid to late game. The Divine Shield will certainly keep it alive for a go, but then when it gets zapped away, I mean, when I've pallied against it and similar, it's just an immediate target for reducing its attack with an Old War Peacekeeper or something similar. Recycle for Druids. Druids wanted a bit of hard control. Shuffling an enemy minion into your opponent's deck, that's not going to trigger the death rattles on it. I would love to use this against Sylvanas, any kind of big minion that makes that 6 mana cost worthwhile. Or indeed anything that's stopping you winning the game is well worth it for that. Okay, Dark Bomb, Ogre War Maul, Micro Machine, Gnome Regan Infantry, and then a Scroogent Clunker as well. Dark Bomb worth of note for Warlocks, obviously with the slight nerf of Soulfire. Dark Bomb, 1 less damage, but you don't get the negative benefit. 1 more cost. It's a solid nuke. You'll be using that to remove various minions and similar from the table, weakened minions. Perhaps take a pop to the hero. I think it's more of a minion focus card. Second recycle. Our Druid is going to be doing a Wombles of Wynwood. Bomb. Shadow Boxer. Whenever a character is healed, do damage to a random. It's not a knife juggler. How can you abuse healing to make that do lots of chip damage? That is your challenge. Explosion. Golden Gilman, which is probably going to get sharded. Cool pet for hunters. So hunters, you've seen some of the bigger beasts that hunters are grabbing, with the King of Beasts and similar. There's also Gazira, though I'm so tempted to make because it looks so fun. It's a massive target for silences and for any kind of control, Gazira, but for the 6 mana it looks so awesome. Draw a card. If it's a beast, it costs 4 less. If you've got some big chunky beasts, then you can ramp beasts as a hunter. Very, very awesome indeed. Okie dokie. Shrunk Meister, an Ogre Brute, double Ogre Brute, a Shield Maiden, and another Piloted Sky Golem. A great card. I think we've already got 2 of those, so that's going to be going to the dust pile. Dunewall Shaman, Wind Fury Overload, 50% chance to attack the wrong enemy. Kind of a nice turn 4 drop actually for Shaman, and with that 50% chance to attack the wrong enemy, you're going to be trashing a bit of the board before it goes down. Is of course a bit of a target just to get removed. With that 4 health, a little bit vulnerable. Tinker Sharpsword, just so situational. Requires deck built around it. Is that deck worth it? Another King of Beasts. Another Sheep, Floating Watcher, Salty Dog. Unstable Portal for mages. Some decks have thrown 1 of these in, some have thrown in 2. Think of it like this. You get a random minion from the entire game. At worst, you might be playing a slightly overpriced 1 mana or 2 mana minion. At best, you're going to be pretty much swinging in and you might have some ridiculously big minion. I've drawn an Illidan and played an Illidan on like turn. What was it? Yeah, I did play an Illidan on turn 4 with an unstable portal. Just making sure I'm doing my maths correct. But yeah, so unstable portal pretty much is like, if it goes well, you can win a game. Or you certainly get massive tempo. Ooh, what we got? Oh, hello. Shiny incoming to those of you on the stream. I know there's a slight delay. I like Malorn. Shuffling this minion into your deck. Now, of course, he's a big silence target. However, if he gets past that silence, or if you can get him out, now if you ramp into him as a druid, then he's pretty shiny indeed. Of course, also a beast, so it's got some nice synergy with some of the other beast cards as well. I'd look to try and ramp into some Malorn. Is he better than Cenarius as a finisher? I'd probably say he's a more offensive option, but really, Cenarius, of course, gives you the 2 tanking treants, the 2 tanking minions as well, or gives you that buff as well. So, yeah, Malorn, pretty handy. I think it'll be interesting to see how people use him. You can say that with any card, but really, maybe pair him with Cenarius, or between the 2, depending on the deck. Maybe you just still plump for Cenarius as a finisher. But I like him. It's nice to have a legendary. I'll certainly try and experiment with Malorn before deciding on his long-term fate. Does he go to the Shard Pale? Mad Air Bomber. Mad Bomber's got a cousin. He's bigger, he's badder. 6 damage randomly split between all our characters. He's going to be arena fantastic. And a big welcome to the last hit 83. It's great of you to join us. We've got Qwerty's Hen. Have you been running along the top of the keyboard? And then Hen on top. And then Fifi92, good to have you with us as well. We're just picking some cards. Do shout with any questions. And it'll be we're going to be laddering and building some decks and similar, and then just having a look at how all of these cards work out in the metagame. And of course you can criticise my play as much as you like. It makes me better. I do enjoy it. Great to have new people join in. So, nothing too massively new in that pack. Warbot, an explosive sheep. And villains chosen. Then we've got a mech bear cat. I do love the name of this card. Man Bear Pig. Man Bear Pig. For those of you South Park fans. I don't mind this card too much. The health means it's quite likely to get removed. But whenever it takes damage and a spare part card, if you can ramp that out, then it could trash some stuff in the early game. And oh, hey, someone rushing with us. Hey, I'm going to try and see if... hey, Russian guy, I'm going to try and go for English to Russian. See if this works. Google Translate. What do spare parts do, says O'Bring? That's a really good question. So, spare parts are small... cards. They have small cost. They are spells. When they get summoned, they are little buffs that you can play on your cards. So they're a mech mechanic of Goblins and Gnomes. I'm just going to see if I can pull one up for you. I should probably have an example of one somewhere. It's a very good point. So let's go and find the GV genus. Let's find a spare part for you. Oh, I'm going to have to Google Translate from Russian to English now. We want to make people feel welcome. Our Russian friend says hello. Okay, so what have we got? Spare parts. Let's quickly grab facebook.com. Let's go take a look at the Play Hearthstone gallery. I think it's worth a little deviation to go and grab a spare part card for you, so we can explain what the spare parts do. Spare parts, spare parts, spare parts. Give me a gallery. Here's the gallery. Oh, that's an Anima Golem. Nothing wrong with an Anima Golem. So we bring, let's show you some spare parts. Oh, I see some there. Oh, there we go. Hey, look at that. I've just managed to pretty much, if I can do a capture screen area, then we're good and golden. I'm going to do this temporarily. Hopefully not show you all of the mess of my screen. Ooh. Apologies for the meta. You're going to have a little bit of meta there. There we go. And if I just drag that a little bit bigger, here are spare parts for you. So spare parts you summon, whenever a spare part's summoned, you can see they're all 1 mana cost. And you can basically see that what they do is little buffs. So it's totally random, you don't know what you're going to get. But if you take a look, you've got give a minion health, freeze a minion, give a friendly minion stealth to your next turn. So they're little buffs that can potentially benefit you in a big way. If you get a freeze, if you get the conceal, swapping a minion, stack and health, lots of funny things you can do there. So that is spare parts for you. So there we go, let's continue with our pack opening. Go Murloc Shaman. Oh, I love it. We would love to try and go Murloc Shaman. We'll see what we get. You're so slow. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's because I'm Google translating. Anyway, Mechbear Cat, Snow Chugger as well. The Snow Chugger, a nice little water elemental variant. Certainly will let you freeze some similar things in the early game. Line of the Naru. We've covered all of these. Snow Chugger, of course. It's worth noting that again. You'll see it in play with some mechs. Boom. Flame Cannon, Velen's Chosen, Snow Chugger, Puddle Stomper, then a Goblin Sapper as well. Boom. Upgraded Repair Bot. Upgraded Repair Bot looking pretty nice actually for priests. If you're going to mech and priest, giving a friendly mech full health. Imagine you've got your Dark Cultist already giving minions more health and other bits and bobs as well. So, not the worst when it comes to meching with a priest, and then of course, if you can actually hit that down turn 5, you've got Yetis, you've got all of the other minions and stuff down before. Some real nice options there. Court Guardian, and Junk Bots. Whenever a friendly mech dies, gain 2/2. So for the 5 mana, the main thing is, okay, low attack, the 5 health, will that keep it alive long enough to make sure that the Junk Bot actually gets some value? If you drop it at the right time, if you can get it out, if you've got taunts and walls up, then it could be handy, but people are already trying to play Junk Bot. There's a lot of mech rushing, a lot of people enjoying their mechs, so certainly Junk Bot will be an option. Power Mace, of course, letting us trade away. Brief chat over Druid of the Fang. If you drop a early game beast, then Druid of the Fang is your friend. Or perhaps if you're throwing it in the late game, you'll get a 7/7 as well. And remember, of course, the Druid of the Claw is a beast for that card. The Craggle, the Shrinkmeister as well. Getting to the tail end of our pack opening. We'll then go and take a look and see what we can ladder with. 4-stack Max, Shrinkmaster, Shadow Boxer, Shielded Minibot also. And you know what, we've not had a single Hobgoblin. I would like... Oh, Flying Machine, okay, I'm going to shard that for some Dusty. Early Trog as well. Loving Mechanical Yeti. Oh, so many niceness. Implosion. Ah, no, it wasn't Gazira. Boosh. It was Helmet Nessingwary, the other one that we grabbed. Winning Zap-O-Matic. Ooh. Bosh. Newenstalker, Gnome, and a second Recombobulator. Scarlet Purifier. I'm really tempted to tack this in. We can Paladin, Newzoo, Warlock, or Mech Mage after this, so have a shout in the chat. Shout me what kind of deck you want to see us playing, what we're going to try out, and a big welcome to Thunder911 and Rastaman76 joining us. Great to have you with us. Okay, Unstable Portal, another one of those. Very nice indeed. Very nice indeed. Looks as though maybe we'll be Mech Maging. Bosh. Helmet Nessingwary is the Destroyer Beast one, Black Cat. We can show you him in a second. Okay, Ogre Brutes, more Trogs. I'm happy, I've got my 2 Shield Maidens already. Mech Mage with Portal. Okay, all Mech Mage then. Golden Rare, Mech Bear Cat, Mech Bear Cat. You like a Man Bear Pig. Oh, look at that, beautiful. Very nice draw there. We've got our Echo of Medieval sorted. I'm tempted to drop some Echo of Medievs into this mech deck. Goblin Sapper, seen by some to be the trade-off against Handlock. So you can throw that down if your opponent's got a hand stuffed full of cards. That's going to be big and nasty, real bad and real fast. So pretty painful. Can definitely bring some pain with that. Crackle. Crackle, and then a Velen's chosen as well. So nice, Echo of Medivh, that will certainly help us out along our way. Spider Tank, Spider Tank. Cobalt Guardian and a second Arcane Nullifier, really nice. Looking forward to using those. I think that the Druid deck that I'm going to try and make is certainly going to feature a couple of those guys in. Flying Machine, magnificent men and their flying machines. And Mech Yeti as well. And do you know what? We've not had a single Hobgoblin. It's crazy. Don't know what is with our luck at this stage. No Hobgoblins at all. Golden Warbot, very nice indeed. And an epic in a 3rd Recombobulator, so we can certainly be sharding away. Whoosh. And another rare and a Cobalt Guardian. Getting to the tail end. Oh, I've had some luck, but ooh, an Illuminator, second one of those. Now, Illuminator, if you control a secret at the end of your turn, restore 4 health. If you can set that up behind a tank, then it is oh so shiny. However, low health, probably going to be quite a target if you do have secrets up and similar. So maybe see that dropping into a secrets deck in the late game. Remember, it's an all-class card as well, so it's not just good. Well, any class that has, of course, secrets is going to benefit from that one. Boom. Last one, Arcane Nullifier, Micro Machine. I do not believe that. We've not a single Hobgoblin. That's hilarious. So there we go, there's our pack opening. Going to give the satisfaction.